My friends, if you want to understand the greatest power in this world, don't look at armies, don't look at kings, don't look at billionaires. Look at a mother. For it is her strength, her love, her sacrifice, and her unshakable will that becomes the foundation of every generation. A mother is not just a caretaker. She is a leader, a warrior, a teacher, and an architect of destinies. Napoleon Hill once said, "Strength and growth come only through continuous struggle and effort." Who embodies this more than a mother? She struggles so her children can rise. She sacrifices so her family can thrive. She silently builds futures, even when the world does not see her pain. But today, let us celebrate and laugh. Let us honor and learn from the 10 powerful keys of a mother's strength, because hidden within them is the secret to building an unshakable foundation for every generation. If you want to see what true sacrifice looks like, you don't have to search in history books, you don't have to study great warriors, you just have to look at a mother. From the very beginning, her life becomes a series of choices where her own comfort is put aside for the sake of her children. Think about it, she gives up sleep when you are a baby, staying awake all night just to make sure you are breathing, just to make sure you are warm. Later she gives up her favorite meal so that you can have the last piece of bread. She gives up her desires for new clothes, for travels, for luxuries, because your education, your growth, and your future come first. And here is the powerful part, she doesn't complain. She doesn't make you feel guilty. She sacrifices with a smile, as if giving up her comfort is the greatest joy in the world. That is the silent strength of a mother, the strength to give, and give again, without expecting anything in return. Napoleon Hill once said, "Great achievement is usually born of great sacrifice." A mother embodies this truth. Her sacrifices are not small, they are monumental. Without her sacrifices, no leader, no inventor, no dreamer would have been able to stand where they did. Behind every success story is a mother who gave up a part of herself to build that foundation. Now let's add a touch of humor here, because even in sacrifice, mothers have their unique style. You know, when there are only 2 mangoes in the house and she says, "I don't like mangoes anyway," while secretly her mouth is watering. That's not dislike, that's sacrifice wrapped in love. Or when there's 1 piece of chicken left and she says, "No, I'm full," even though you just saw her eating only gravy. That is love in disguise. This is what makes a mother's sacrifice so powerful. It's invisible, it's quiet, it's often hidden in everyday moments. But it is this very sacrifice that builds nations, because children who rise from that foundation carry within them the strength of her love. If sacrifice is a mother's silent strength, then encouragement is her loudest superpower. A mother's words have the ability to turn weakness into strength, doubt into belief, and failure into a lesson. Think about this when the world tells you, "You can't do it." Your mother is the one who whispers, or sometimes yells, "Yes, you can." She is your first cheerleader, long before the world even knows your name. She claps for you when you take your first step. She celebrates your crooked handwriting, and she treats your silly drawings like they belong in an art museum. This isn't just about praise, it's about vision. A mother sees what you can become long before you see it yourself. She sees the doctor in you, the leader in you, the artist in you, the warrior in you, even when all you see in the mirror is a scared little child. And here's the fun part, sometimes her encouragement comes in unexpected ways. You fail an exam, and instead of giving you a lecture, she might say, "Beta, Einstein by school main fail hoda the son." Even Einstein used to fail in school. You know that's not entirely true, but in that moment, her words give you courage to try again. Or maybe you come back from a cricket match after dropping 3 catches, and she says, "Don't worry, tum eagle match ki hero banoj." So don't worry, in the next match you'll be the hero. And somehow you believe her. Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But belief doesn't always grow on its own. It needs watering. And mothers are the gardeners of belief. They pour words into your soul until you start believing them yourself. Imagine how many dreams would have died if mothers stopped encouraging. Imagine how many kids would have given up after their first failure. But because of a mother's words, soft or strict, gentle or firm, children learn to rise again. So, the voice of a mother is not just encouragement, it's fuel. Fuel that powers generations. Fuel that makes the impossible seem possible. Schools may give us degrees, universities may give us certificates, but it is mothers who give us the lessons that no book can teach. A mother is the first teacher, and her classroom. It starts right at the dining table, in the kitchen, in the small, everyday moments of life. She doesn't always sit you down with a chalkboard. Her lessons often come hidden inside her daily actions. When she wakes up before everyone else, she teaches discipline. When she shares her last bite of food with you, she teaches selflessness. When she manages the home with little resources but big love, she teaches resourcefulness and gratitude. Think about it. How many times have you heard your mother say, "Paise ped pi nahi ukti"? So money doesn't grow on trees. At that time, you might have rolled your eyes, but years later, when you got your first paycheck, you realized exactly what she meant. Or when she insisted you eat vegetables, not because they were tasty, but because they were good for your health. She was teaching you about long-term benefits over short-term pleasures. That's wisdom. And let's not forget the tough love lessons. When you cried over losing a game, she didn't always console you. Sometimes she said, "Har bar jitna zarori nahi, sitna zarori hai." Winning every time is not necessary, learning every time is. At the time, it felt unfair. But years later, when life threw challenges at you, you remembered her words and stood stronger. Napoleon Hill said that the greatest education is found in experience. And who gives you experience before life even does? Your mother. She teaches you how to talk to people, how to respect others, how to hold your head high in dignity, and how to bend low in humility. Here's the fun side: two mothers can turn even scoldings into life lessons. For example, when she says, "Room saf karo warna miman kaya sachenj." So clean your room, or what will the guests think? It's not just about cleanliness. It's about responsibility, about maintaining standards, about showing respect to others. But in the moment, all you hear is nagging. Later in life, when you keep your office desk clean or present yourself neatly in an interview, you realize you learned it from her. A mother doesn't just teach you how to live, she teaches you how to live well. Her classroom doesn't close, her syllabus doesn't end, and her lessons stay with you forever. Life is a storm. Jobs come and go, friendships sometimes fade, and even your own confidence can shake. But in the middle of that storm, there is always one anchor that holds you steady: your mother. From childhood, when you scraped your knee on the playground, who was the first person you ran to? Your mother. Not because she had a magic band-aid, but because her hug was stronger than medicine. When you failed your exam and felt the whole world was laughing at you, who whispered in your ear, "Beta, this is not the end, it's just a step." Your mother. She is not just a parent, she is the emotional foundation that keeps you balanced. Napoleon Hill often said, "Every setback contains the seed of an equal or greater comeback." And who plants that seed inside you first? Your mother. She teaches you not to drown in your tears, but to sail through them. She reminds you that emotions are not weaknesses. They are proof that you are alive, that you care, that you have a heart. And let's be real, mothers are also emotional detectives. You could come home, smiling, pretending everything is fine. But the moment she looks at your face, she'll say, "Kya ha? Tumher cherpi like a hai." What happened? It's written on your face. And you think, how does she know? That's her superpower. Even in the toughest times, when you feel the weight of the world pressing down on your shoulders, your mother becomes that safe space where you can cry, complain, and just be human. She doesn't judge you. She doesn't ask for explanations. She simply says, "Main hu na, sa am hirt." And suddenly, your heart feels lighter. Here's the fun side. Mothers can be hilariously dramatic with their emotional strength. If you forget to call, she'll say, "Lagda hai tum mujabul gay ho." It looks like you forgot meat. And you laugh. But deep down you realize it's not drama, it's love. She wants to stay connected because her heart is tied to yours. An emotional anchor doesn't mean she shields you from all pain. No, sometimes she lets you feel it. Sometimes she allows you to fall, to hurt, to struggle, because she knows growth only comes when emotions are tested. But she never lets you drown. She stands as the anchor, holding you in place until you are strong enough to sail again. A mother's love isn't loud, it's consistent. It doesn't always shout, but it always stays. In a world where people come and go, her emotional strength is that one unshakable pillar you can always lean on. If you truly want to understand greatness, don't look at celebrities, don't look at billionaires. Look at a mother's daily life, because her story is written in silent sacrifices. Think about it. How many times has she put her own dreams aside so you could chase yours? How many nights did she stay awake when you had a fever, while the world slept peacefully? How many times did she wear the same old clothes, just so you could wear something new for Eid, Christmas, or graduation day. These are not small things. These are invisible bricks on which your life is built. A mother's sacrifice is not always dramatic like in movies. It's quiet. It's hidden. You don't always notice it. But it's there, woven into every detail of your life. That lunchbox she packed every morning, even when she was tired. That prayer she whispered for your safety before you left the house. That smile she forced when she was hurting inside just so you wouldn't worry. Napoleon Hill said, "Strength and growth come only through continuous effort and struggle." And who embodies that more than a mother? She struggles silently, but her effort is constant. She doesn't complain about her sacrifices because, for her, they're not losses. They're investments in your future. Here's the fun but real part. Mothers sometimes remind you of their sacrifices in the most dramatic way. You say, "Amy, kana thoda salty hay," and she'll reply, "Baz, abmain is gar si chali jongi. Tum sab komera kana salty lagda hay." But even in those moments, you realize, behind the humor, behind the drama, there's love. She wants to be valued, because every little thing she does comes from the deepest place of care. And let's not forget, mothers often sacrifice their own identity to become. So's mom. The woman who once had her own dreams, ambitions and hobbies often sets them aside to shape yours. That is not weakness. It's the highest form of strength. To give without expecting, to love without conditions, to sacrifice without applause. That is the purest definition of greatness. You may not notice her sacrifices today. You may even take them for granted. But one day, when you're standing strong in life, you'll realize your foundation was built on her silent battles. Words are powerful. They can heal, they can inspire, and they can also destroy. And when it comes to a mother's words, they often carry the weight of truth, prayer, and unconditional love. Think back for a second. When you were small and scared of the dark, didn't just a single line from your mother, "Main yul hin hoon, daromat," calm your entire world? That's the power of her words. They are not just sounds, they are shields, wrapping you in courage. Napoleon Hill once said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But who planted those beliefs in your mind first? Who told you, "Beta tum kuch by kar sakt ho," when the world said, "Tums nai hoga"? A mother's words are like the first motivational speech you ever hear, and sometimes they are the only one you'll ever need. Her words are blessings disguised as casual sentences. When she says, "Ella tumhari hefazat care," or "Mary dua tumer sath hai," those aren't just polite statements. They're forces of faith, vibrations of love that follow you into every challenge. Even when you doubt yourself, her words echo in your head, reminding you that someone believes in you, even when you don't. And yes, sometimes her words can be funny too. Let's be honest, mothers are experts in emotional blackmail. You say, "Amy main dostan ki sath bahar ja rahahoon," and she'll reply, "Jao muja a kelly chordu. Ways be mera kai hai." It sounds dramatic, but even in that, her words are laced with love. They remind you that you matter more than anything else in her world. A mother's words can also shape your values. That simple advice, "Sach bolo, apni menat par barosa karo, zilm bardash mat karo," becomes the compass of your life. When the noise of society tries to confuse you, her words bring you back to your true path. Sometimes her words are not even spoken aloud. They're written in the silence of her eyes, in the firmness of her tone, in the way she calls your name. And here's the miracle. Her words don't just stay with you. They become part of you. You carry them into your career, your relationships, your challenges. And one day, without realizing it, you'll find yourself repeating her very words to your own children. So, never underestimate the power of a mother's words. They're not just advice. They're living legacies, shaping generations quietly, one sentence at a time. If you want to measure the true strength of a mother, don't look at what she shows the world. Look at the sacrifices she hides, the things she gives up silently, without a word, without complaint. That's where her real power lies. Think about it. How many times has your mother saved the last piece of food for you, saying, "Muja buk nehi hai," when in reality she was starving? How many times has she worn the old dress so you could have the new one? These are not just sacrifices, they are invisible monuments of love built day by day. Napoleon Hill said, "Great achievement is usually born of great sacrifice." And who embodies this more than a mother? Her achievements are not medals or awards hanging on the wall. They are you. Her biggest investment is not in property or wealth. It's in your future. And she pays for it with her own comfort, her own sleep, her own dreams. Here's the funny part. She will never let you know she's sacrificing. Mothers have this superhero ability to disguise struggle as normal. She'll be up all night taking care of you when you're sick, and in the morning, when you ask, Ami, apni soya, she'll smile and say, Han bilkul tum fikr mat karo. You believe her, but deep down, you know her eyes tell a different story. Her sacrifices aren't always material. Sometimes they are emotional. She holds back her tears so you don't break. She swallows her pain so you can laugh freely. She silences her own needs so your dreams can be louder. It's almost as if mothers are born with this secret mission. I will carry the weight so my child can fly. And here's something powerful. Most of her sacrifices go unnoticed. We don't thank her every time. We don't even realize what she gave up for us. But that's the beauty of her love. It's unconditional. She doesn't keep score. She doesn't demand repayment. Her silent sacrifices are her way of saying, your happiness is my victory. If you really think about it, her sacrifices are like oxygen, invisible but keeping you alive. You may not see them, but without them, you wouldn't be where you are today. So, when you see a mother smiling, remember, behind that smile are countless nights of worry, endless compromises, and silent prayers whispered into the dark. If patience had a face, it would look like a mother's. Honestly, no one on this earth practices patience at the level a mother does. And let's be real, if it wasn't for her patience, most of us wouldn't have survived childhood. Think about it. How many times have kids asked the same question 100 times in 1 minute? Ami yesh kian. Ami yesh kase. I abkia hoga ami. A normal person would lose their mind. But a mother, she answers again and again with a calmness that feels almost supernatural. Sometimes she even answers questions no one asked, just because she already knows what you will ask. Napoleon Hill wrote about persistence being the key to success. But let me tell you, persistence's best friend is patience. And mothers, they are the queens of both. They wait for years for their children to grow, to mature, to succeed. They plant seeds in us when we're young and then wait, season after season, storm after storm, for those seeds to bloom. No rush, no panic, just steady, unshakable patience. Here's the fun side. Mothers have selective patience. For example, she can wait 20 years for her child to find their path in life. But if you don't reply to her WhatsApp message in 2 minutes, she's ready to launch a rescue operation. Beta zindaho. 2 minutes, reply nahi aya. That's motherly patience mixed with motherly love. It's hilarious and beautiful at the same time. But beyond the jokes, patience is her survival tool. She waits through her own struggles silently. She waits for the day her child will finally understand her sacrifices. She waits for you to realize how much she's done for you. And sometimes she waits her whole life without saying it out loud. Patience for her is not weakness, it's strength. It's the strength to hold the family together when things fall apart. It's the strength to endure her child's mistakes without giving up on them. It's the strength to let time do its work, even when her heart wants to fix everything right now. A mother's patience teaches us one of the greatest life lessons. Not everything needs to be rushed. Some things take time. Growth takes time. Healing takes time. And she is living proof that patience doesn't break you, it builds you. So, whenever you see your mother waiting silently, understand this: her patience is not passive. It is powerful. It is the fuel that keeps your journey moving, even when you don't see it. If motivation had a voice, it would sound exactly like a mother's. No matter how many times you fail, no matter how badly you mess things up, she is the one who whispers, or sometimes shouts, Beta tum kar sakta ho. And believe me, those 4 words have more power than an entire library of motivational books. A mother's encouragement is different from the world's. The world claps for you only when you win. But a mother claps even when you try. She celebrates your small steps like they're Olympic medals. You write your first ABC, and she saves that notebook like it's Shakespeare's original script. You make a weird painting with a stick figure and a crooked sun, and she says, Wow, Beta! Picasso baitum sasik guy. That's the magic of her encouragement. She sees greatness even in your imperfection. But let's be real. It's not always sweet and soft. Sometimes encouragement comes with tough love, like when you fail a test and she says, Beta, dunia kn nahi hai par agla paper egar fail ha to meri dunia zaror katam ho jagi. That mix of love and fear works like rocket fuel. It pushes you forward even when you're lazy. Napoleon Hill often emphasized the power of belief, that when someone believes in you, it awakens your hidden potential. And who believes in you more than your mother? Even when you stop believing in yourself, she doesn't. Even when you see yourself as ordinary, she sees extraordinary. Think about the power of that. Every great inventor, every successful leader, every artist. Somewhere behind their story is a mother who encouraged them when no one else did. Thomas Edison once said, "My mother was the making of me." Why? Because when his teachers called him stupid, his mother called him brilliant. That's the difference encouragement makes. And here's the fun part. Mothers don't just encourage you with words. Sometimes they bribe you into success. Agar top kia tum tumhari pasand kafon malega. Or, beta, agar tum strong ban gay to main tummy tumhara favorite biryani bananji. That's motivational strategy at its finest, straight from the Mother's Guide to Psychology. But beyond the laughter. The truth is this: a mother's encouragement is like oxygen. You may not always notice it, but without it, you cannot breathe through life's challenges. She sees the light in you when you only see darkness. She pushes you forward when you feel like quitting. And she reminds you that no matter how tough the road gets, you are stronger than you think. Encouragement is not just what she gives you. It's what she installs in you like a permanent battery. Even when she's not physically around, her words echo in your head. Beta, himat mat harna, tum kar sakt ho. If you look at the word sacrifice, it almost feels too small when you put it next to a mother's name. Because what she sacrifices is not just her sleep, her comfort, or her desires. It's her entire self. She pours her dreams into you, and yet never complains. Her strength is hidden in her ability to give up so much just to see you rise higher. Think about it. How many times has your mother eaten the last cold roti so you could have the hot one? How many times did she wear the old clothes so you could wear something new? How many times did she stay awake all night with fever, but still wake up at 6 a.m. to pack your school lunch? That's not just love, that's sacrifice. And the most beautiful part, she never keeps a record. She doesn't sit down with a notebook saying, Beta, ajmain tum paritna invest kar rahi hun, kaliska return chahai. No, a mother gives without counting. She sacrifices without expecting. And yet, that sacrifice becomes the foundation on which you build your life. Napoleon Hill often said that success requires burning desire. But here's the truth: many times, the fire that burns inside a child is first lit by the sacrifices of his mother. She shows you, through her example, that real strength is not about what you keep. It's about what you give up for something greater. Now, let's add some fun here. Sometimes a mother's sacrifice is wrapped in humor. Like when there's only one piece of cake left, and she says, Mujita ways by diet carni high, tumka low. We all know she doesn't want diet, she wants that cake. But still, she gives it away with a smile. Or when she gives up the remote control and says, Beta tum dek low TV. Mujja to ways by news bor cardi high. Yet, we all know 5 minutes later she's standing in the kitchen pretending to cook, while secretly listening to the news from far. That's sacrifice disguised as love. But beyond the humor lies the core truth: sacrifice is the ultimate warrior trait. A mother fights battles silently. Sometimes against her own hunger, sometimes against her own exhaustion, sometimes against her own dreams, so her child doesn't have to. Her battlefield is the kitchen, the home, the sleepless nights, the endless worries. And the weapons she uses are patience, endurance, and unconditional love. Her sacrifice is not weakness, it's the deepest form of strength. Because it takes far more power to give up than to hold on. And that's why behind every doctor, every leader, every successful human being, there's always a mother's sacrifice holding up that success like an invisible pillar. And maybe that's the greatest proof that mothers don't just raise children. They raise generations, they raise nations, they raise the future itself. So when we speak of strength, when we speak of success, when we speak of greatness, let us never forget the first warrior who taught us how to fight: our mother. Her love is unconditional, her patience is endless, and her sacrifices are invisible pillars holding up everything we are today. Napoleon Hill said, "Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve." But here's the truth. Many of us learned to conceive and believe only because our mothers first believed in us, even when we didn't believe in ourselves. She is not just the foundation of a home, she is the foundation of every generation. She doesn't just nurture bodies, she nurtures dreams, courage, and resilience. She doesn't just raise children, she raises leaders, warriors, and world changers. So if you want to honor her, don't just say, "Thank you." Live a life that reflects her sacrifices. Become strong where she taught you strength, become kind where she showed you love, and become unstoppable where she showed you resilience. Because at the end of the day, your greatest tribute to your mother is not in words, but in the life you build, a life worthy of her love, her struggles, and her silent strength. She is not behind you, she is not beside you, she is inside you, and through you, her legacy will live forever.